Hi, everybody, and welcome back. In case you just joined us, we're here with Carol Spizzirri. Carol, how you doing?
Nice.
And Sabrina, I keep wanting to say Sabrina, but it's Sabrina on the end there, with the Save a Life Foundation, a great organization that's really not too old, I don't think, Carol.
No, it's 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years old, and perhaps you have heard of it, Save a Life Foundation, and really how it got started. Kind of a tragic accident Carol's daughter was involved in, and so she was very instrumental. She was instrumental in getting a law passed that the police officers who come to a scene or firefighters should be trained in CPR or first aid, right, Carol?
That's correct.
So I know it might be a little painful to you, but let's go back to that day in 1991, was it?
92.
92.
Labor Day 92. My daughter was involved in an accident that was a hit and run, and it severed artery in her arm. The first to arrive were public servants and bystanders who didn't know what to do at that time. Thus, she bled to death before EMS arrived, which was about 13 minutes later.
Mm-hmm. Now, had they known CPR, first aid, perhaps they could have stopped the bleeding or whatever, and she might be with us today.
Well, I had found out through research after my daughter died, because I am a renal transplant nurse, and I couldn't understand how she could have bled to death with the injuries that she actually had. And I discovered that not only that public servants weren't trained in life-saving skills, but those we entrust with the safety and well-being of our children every day, including school bus drivers, teachers, coaches, PE, whatever, that they weren't trained as well. So I went to Springfield, Illinois, and started going around from door to door and getting support from state legislators to sponsor and build and mandates police and fire, and then discovered that a mandate word was not really accepted without funding. So went to Washington, D.C., and at that time was Congressman Dick Durbin, now our U.S. Senator, was the only one who opened the door and met with me and sponsored appropriations to pay for that bill.
Mm-hmm. Now, boy, and it's gone from that to just a major, a nationwide organization, right, Carol?
Yeah.
And Sabrina, her daughter, is assistant media director. And how old were you at? Well, I really maybe shouldn't ask you that, Sabrina.
Well,
but when it happened, you know.
I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably still vivid in your mind.
Oh yes,
sure.
absolutely.
And
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it's just devastating. What is your role now in the corporation?
Right now, I'm assistant media director, and I work with Dane Neal on getting press releases out, getting interviews. We had started a radio show called The Bystander, and we're looking for sponsors for that. It's a show that talks about events going on in the communities. We talk with politicians, people that have saved others' lives, and things like that.
And okay, and so you're quite involved with Dane Neal on WJGG, is it?
Yes.
The station, radio station, folks. Here's on Labor Day 1992, Christina Jean Spizzirri was involved in a fatal car accident. The first people to arrive on the scene were police officers who are not trained in first aid. And despite her injuries, Christina's life might have been saved had they known how to render prompt basic first aid. Now, Carol, how extensive is the training for the officers now?
They get a first responder course from the state, and then unfortunately, once they receive that training and they get into a municipality, it is up to the municipality with home rule to keep that education going. Again, unfortunately, in many municipalities, they don't keep it up. And so we are advocating that they give them refresher courses, because the police themselves realize that it's often their own loved one, or it could be a partner that has a heart attack or a fatal injury.
Mm-hmm. And like you say, they're the first ones on the scene. It may be several minutes before paramedics can arrive on the scene?
Well, it depends on weather conditions and other accidents, and it could be even a catastrophic disaster like we witnessed at in New York on 911, where it took many, many lives that were public servants, and now it's up to the responsibility of the bystander, the person that is there to render that aid to maintain life until EMS does arrive.
Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do is a beautiful package that they have here. There's several programs that they have, folks, and well, perhaps we can touch on some of them, Carol. Save a Life for Kids.
Right.
Now, what does that exactly mean, and what are you doing there?
Well, Dr. Heimlich, the Heimlich maneuver, and Dr. Peter Saffer, who invented CPR, confronted me at the time that Christina died, and I started this legislation, and asked that I work with them to train the masses. And we started going after the children, which no other organization, nobody believed that a child could learn these life-saving skills or want to. So I developed this Save a Life for Kids and Bystander Basic program, which teaches children from kindergarten all the way through high school in basic life-saving skills by their local EMS.
Isn't it? Yeah, isn't that great? And confidence level, they've got graphs and so on, how they said, well, the kids won't learn it,
Right.
they don't know.
We have a 97% retention level after 3 months.
Is that right?
57% increased willingness by these children to render aid. In other words, we're teaching children how to care.
Yes, and it's in Addison now. We have a couple of the policemen.
Yes, firefighters with EMS. We only deal with those that have EMS credentials, be it nurses or EMTs, ambulance drivers, fire or police that have EMS credentials. And then they go into the local schools at no cost and train the children in a 1 hour, or 1 hour for elementary, 2 hour for high school.
Oh, okay. Has it been response been very?
We've had over 400,000 children that we trained statewide last year. And we are statewide with our branches in emergency departments in hospitals, Condell in Lake County, Pontiac, St. James, St. Alexis and Alexian Brothers, St. John's in Springfield, and on and on. And we're right now talking with Children's in Chicago.
Okay. And actually, well, the Chicago one was that Paul Ballas who kind of...
Yes, he did. It was his forethought that brought this into the Chicago Public Schools. We were able to train into all 730 of their schools, and a proclamation had been proclaimed and a resolution by the Chicago Board of Ed to have our program as part of their curriculum.
Now on the screen, Carol, what have we got there, Mike? Okay, now here, this is a very interesting story, folks. Gee, that little girl almost looks like my little Jenna there, right?
We thought almost identical.
Yeah. Explain that picture, will you?
This gentleman is the Cook County Sheriff, and because of the legislation that was passed in '94, in his training in the academy, he was able to save the life of that little girl, and he contributes that education that we were able to pass as the result of this girl's life being saved. She had drowned in a swimming pool and literally had turned blue, and he was there to save her. Corrine Wood, the Lieutenant Governor for Illinois, has been extremely supportive of life-saving skills.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
And she was there to present an award to the gentleman that saved the life. And that was at our dinner last September, awards dinner.
Oh, and you're going to have that yearly?
We're going to be, yes,
dinner?
we do have it. Mayor Don Stevens was our honorary, and Mrs. Stevens were our honorary guests last year. Great support.